Welcome to CT with CPT podcast. I am your host, Sharon Diggs. And today, I want to talk about self-worth. Is our educational therapy session. Self-worth is a non-negotiable. That is our title today. Self-worth is a non-negotiable. Everyone, before I start this educational therapy session, I want you to repeat after me. Repeat these words and say them daily. My value does not decrease based on someone's inability to see my worth. I said what I said. Again, repeat after me. My value does not decrease based on someone's inability to see my worth. Self-worth. There are people who get upset when you choose you. When they won't respect your boundaries, won't treat you right, and or aren't capable of treating you right. And I think it's important to understand that a lot of the times we get angry with people, but some people do not have the capacity to treat you right or to see your worth because they don't even see their own. We have to pray and give folks grace because most of the time it's good people with good hearts not dealing with their self-inflicted trauma, and that suppresses them. Rather than putting in the work required to be the best versions of themselves, they rather shrink others, dim your light, have you lower your standards to meet their needs, their wants, their ideas and perceptions, and how you should be. And when you do that, you lose yourself, you lose your dignity, you lower your confidence, you lower your self-esteem, and your self-worth. This can happen in friendships, relationships, work, with family members. Please understand that trauma is not our fault, but healing surely is our responsibility. And I will definitely do another podcast on healing is your responsibility because I think it's important that we understand that we all experience some level of trauma in our lives, but the healing is our responsibility. And I will definitely do a podcast on that. But in the meantime, in between time, listen to session 17, that educational therapy session on 17. Last I checked, Broken Crowns Still Work, which talks about healing our emotional brokenness and important for us to be our true authentic selves and the best, healthiest versions of ourselves. But I touch on healing ourselves in today's educational therapy session as it helps with building our self-worth. You can't build yourself up if you're still living in your trauma. You can't move to a new chapter if you keep living in the old chapter. You can't really see who you truly are and who God designed and created you to be. So let's talk about what self-worth is and its importance. According to the American Psychological Association, self-worth can be defined as an individual evaluation of himself or herself as a valuable, capable human being deserving of respect, love, and consideration. A healthy sense of self-worth can be valuable to our careers, our relationships, and our health. Again, a healthy sense of self-worth can be valuable to our careers, our relationships. And I'm talking about relationships with families, with friends, with your significant others, and marriages. And I think this huge one is our health. We don't realize when we don't deal with who we are and our self-worth and how we feel about ourselves that it impacts our health mentally and physically. So what is the root of self-worth? The root of self-worth is feelings of self-worth and self-esteem that comes from self-concept. Plainly put, it is a concept of how somebody thinks about themselves. Your self-concept can be impacted consciously or unconsciously factors that affect your judgment, your mood, and our behavioral patterns. Ties into self-love. Listen to the podcast I did on self-love, educational therapy, session 7, self-love is the new relationship status. I think it's important that we understand that self-love is the best love. Self-care is the best care. And of course, this would not be a CT with CPD podcast if I did not do some Did You Know facts. Did you know, on an average, the self-love index is just about 53 on a scale of 0 to 100. What does that mean? That means that nearly 1 in 2 people around the world feel more self-doubt than self-love and self-worth. Why do so many people struggle with self-worth? Some of the many causes of low self-esteem is unhappy childhood, where parents or other significant people, such as teachers, were extremely critical. Poor academic performance in school resulting in a lack of confidence. Ongoing stressful life events such as a relationship breakdown, death, or financial trouble. It is normal to have self-worth. Okay, it is normal to have no self-worth, and that's a question I'm asking. Is it normal to have no self-worth? I guess is what I'm trying to put out there. And we all, to some degree, have a lack of confidence, and we don't feel good about ourselves. I mean, we have moments. I mean, I'm experiencing now, and as I'm aging, I feel like I'm going through. Your body is changing, your skin is changing, your life is changing. You're changing, and as you get older, you start to lack confidence in things that you felt at 20 or at 30. And so you have to rebuild those things. So I guess in essence, what I want to say is that we build it, and sometimes we're going to have to rebuild it. But the key is you got to identify that you're losing it and then go, okay, well, what do I do to regroup myself so that I can continue to see the value in who I am so that I don't lose respect for myself, okay? But when low self-esteem becomes a long-term problem, it can have harmful effects on our mental health and our day-to-day lives. So what builds self-worth? Because you said, okay, Sharon, you're talking about rebuild and build. What builds it? I think it's important that we be kind to ourselves. We give grace to ourselves. We get to know ourselves. For example, what makes us happy and what we value in life. We challenge unkind thoughts about ourselves. That's just what I was talking about as I'm aging. Okay, I'm having these unkind thoughts, but what do I do? I have to challenge myself and say, okay, but I'm still living, I'm still breathing, I'm still blessed. And I kind of counterbalance it so that I still understand that I'm still worthy. You say positive things to yourself. You practice saying no. No is a complete sentence. I say that all the time. It is a complete sentence. You try to avoid comparing yourself to others. Do something nice for yourself. And that's what I talk about. Self-care is the best care. Taking care of you. Be nice to yourself. Do nice gestures for yourself. I think it's important, and I say this all the time, set boundaries to protect your peace. I got to say it louder for the people in the back. You have to set boundaries to protect your peace, your values, and your worth. And I think it's important, and this is truly important, you have to face your trauma. And I say this all the time, God can't fix what you won't face. Is it painful sometimes to face that trauma piece of your life? Yes, it is. But does it give you freedom? Does it allow you to see your worthiness and who you are and who God created you to be? Absolutely. As trauma can upturn your whole life, leading a loss of direction and purpose by small, achievable goals, you can regain a sense of control over your life and build self-esteem through accomplishment. Please understand, you must trust the process when you are dealing with your trauma. It is and will be very uncomfortable, and it's actually hard work. And it's a lot of work, and it's a continuous work. Healing requires patience, requires daily work, and most importantly, you must understand that you will still have triggers. So it's not going to just all go away because you're doing the work. The key is you'll still have triggers, but you'll be in a position because you've put in the work to manage them. And at times, putting in the work, you'll be able to manage them. You'll be able to react and respond differently than you used to. An example would be you won't be as defensive. You won't shut down. You won't play victim. Instead, you'll be able to set boundaries when needed, cut ties easily with those who don't see your self-worth, and be able to articulate your thoughts and feelings better. Psalm 139 verses 13 through 14 says, "Your worth is in Christ. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made, and your works are wonderful, and I know that full well." I can honestly say, perhaps in my life, one of the biggest mistakes that I've made in the past is that I believe love was about finding the right person. But in reality, love is about becoming the right person. And that's really what it's about. Becoming the best version of yourself. Showing up for yourself every day. Because my life journey hasn't been easy. But I'm still standing. I'm still laughing. I'm still forgiving. I'm still loving. I'm still learning. I'm still growing. I'm still living. Showing up for myself each and every day. My journey has molded me for the greater good. It is exactly what I needed. And it took every situation and every circumstance in my life that I encountered to bring me to where I am now. And now is right on time. But best thing I ever could have did for myself is show up for myself, believe in myself, and love who God created me to be, and believe I can do all things through Christ. I am so incredibly blessed. I am so grateful. God's love, grace, and mercy is sufficient. Every seed you plant will grow into a bountiful crop for a great harvest. Never stop pushing for greatness. Never stop working towards being the best version of yourself. And know it is a continuous process to show up for yourself every day, as you have to make a conscious effort. Never compromise your principles to either fit in or to be liked by others. Keep your values. Stay true to yourself. Stay true to your beliefs. Self-love, self-respect, and self-worth. There is a reason all of these start with self. You cannot find it in anybody else. Diamonds never step down to become cubic zirconias, are getting more attention. You are God's diamond. So remember to know your worth, to know the difference between what you are getting and what you deserve. Your self-worth is determined by you. Your value, your happiness, and your self-worth are non-negotiable. Again, your value, your happiness, and your self-worth are non-negotiables. Say this last time and repeat this again. My self-worth is non-negotiable. Thank you all for tuning in to this educational therapy session. And again, remember, your self-worth is determined by you and no one else. Be blessed. Exercise your power of choice every day, all day, and be sure to have an amazing day on purpose.